Hi, High-Tech Legion. Skate and Eric. And we're going to be taking a look at, wait, hold it, this is not Skate and Eric. Eric doesn't wear a bracelet, he doesn't wear a watch, and the ring that his dad gave. Wait, this has got to be Paul. So let's start it all over again. Hello everyone, Paul from High-Tech Legion. And we'll be taking a look at the ASUS Rampage IV Extreme motherboard. This is a Republic of Gamers motherboard. This is their high-end motherboard. This has the most bang for the buck for the enthusiast, the computer enthusiast. There's a lot of things you can do with this board. It's very versatile. It gives you extra connectors. It gives you the ability to run Quad-SLI. It is built for the LGA 2011 socket, which is the Sandy Bridge E processors. It is SLI and Crossfire certified and PCI 3.0 ready. If we go ahead and open the flap on it, you plainly see the motherboard in here. It's a red and black, which is the denomination of Republic of Gamers. You have some very nice heat sinks that you can see through the glass, and you can see the socket. When we go over to the flap, a couple things that we could look at are the OC key, which I'll be showing you later on. We have a VGA hotwire, which you could actually connect your video card to if you have an ASUS video card or even another video card. Of course, you would have to solder. You would actually have to use solder points to do this with another video card if it wasn't an ASUS upper end video card. You could actually connect it to the motherboard and overclock it and performance tune your VGA card via an OSD, an on-screen display, which will kind of help you in the essence of sometimes you can damage your VGA card with overclock. This will give you a hand without having to do that. It also has a Subzero sensor for LN2, and it has an X socket. The X socket is actually a replacement socket. If you've had a 1366 socket, LGA 1366 setup, and you still have the cooler for that, and you really don't want to buy another cooler or have to get another bracket, you could go ahead with the X socket, replace the whole socket, and it'll be 1366 compatible. So we'll go ahead and close that, and then we'll open the box and we'll go ahead and look at the accessories first, and then we'll look at the motherboard later on. Now that we have everything out of the box, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. First, we have two SLI cables and a crossfire, or an SLI and crossfire cable. We have 8 total SATA cables. Not only a 4-way SLI bridge, but a 3-way SLI bridge. Our I/O plate, connectors for the multimeter, so you can connect to the motherboard and measure your voltages. Here's where you would connect. The X socket. Basically what this does is it changes your socket for you. It's a total replacement socket, so this becomes 1366 compatible, just in case you don't have the correct fan. Our connections for our front panel of our case. Basically, you take your power button, your power LED, etc., plug them into here. Makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about having this in the case and trying to plug them into the headers on board. Plug them into here and this just pops right in. Very, very useful. We have an ROG Connect cable. Basically, this is for ROG Connect. Connects into the ROG Connect port, which is back here on the motherboard. It's a white port. This would go into a laptop or a mobile device, and you could performance tune your motherboard via that display without actually having to be using the computer inside the BIOS. the actual system that you're using. Now this also works with the ASUS OC key. OC key is a piece of hardware which allows you to performance tune your system via the on-screen display in Windows. And what you basically do is you take a PCIe graphics card, plug this into the graphics card. Once this gets plugged into the graphics card, you will take this USB cable here, plugging that into the top, and right here is a connector for this, which connects the USB key to your motherboard. Now what this does is it generates an on-screen display so you can adjust your voltages, your clock speeds, etc. Also, you can connect it to your ROG. Now you will also at times need to have a secondary keyboard with this, because basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to switch keyboards back and forth between your desktop and the on-screen display depending on what you need to do. This is a very useful tool. I have used it, and we also have a video for it on how to use it in this review. Last but not least, our user's guide. Inside of that, of course, are our drivers and a couple extra guides. We have the ROG Connect guide, and also if you're choosing a discrete video card, they're suggesting the ASUS Zonar series. The motherboard comes in a very nice box. When you take off the plastic and take the motherboard out of the box, now we can actually take a closer look at the Rampage IV motherboard. Let's slowly go around it. Of course, this is a debug. Debug if you want to see, say you're overclocking, something's wrong, or if there's something wrong with your system. The LED display on the debug, of course, in the manual, there are debug numbers, so if you do get an error, you can see which one it is and what's not working. Over here we have our on-off switch for LN2 mode or slow mode, our start button, reset button. Now, these switches here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's for your VGA. You can actually shut off or turn on your VGA slots with this, so you don't waste as much power by sending power to non-used VGA slots. Of course, to the right are your ports and your connectors for your multimeter. We have the go switches, or the MMOK switch, which is to check your memory. Just say you have a problem with your memory, or you overclocked your memory bad, if you want to hit that, it'll go ahead and reset your memory so you can boot up your system. 24-pin power connector, fan header, USB 3 header. We also have, as I said, that's the Subzero sensor. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 SATA 3 ports, SATA 3G. 1, 2, 3, 4 SATA 6G ports. At the bottom of the board, of course, we have all our connectors, USB connectors, our audio connectors. This right here is dual BIOS. This switch down here will actually allow you to activate your dual BIOS. You could run one or the other. So if you want to overclock with one, playing with one, go ahead and use number 1. If you want to keep, once you get a stable overclock, you want to transfer those settings to 2, save a profile, go ahead and use 2. So you can switch back and forth between the BIOS. So if something does fail, you could always recover and get back to where you want to be. Now, if you look, these are solid capacitors on this board. They use the highest quality capacitors, MOSFET, and chokes. One thing you won't hear with this board, and I've experienced this with other boards, not of the ASUS brand, but of another brand or another couple brands, you could actually hear the chokes clicking on some of the boards, which means that they're kind of subpar. They're not a very high quality choke. You will not hear any clicking when phases change with this board or any other ASUS board that I have tested as of yet. Of course, we have Quad-SLI. Well, actually 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be for your Thunderbolt. If you decide to get a Thunderbolt, it is available for this, so you could use it. You could use it for sound, and it also has an E2100 network card on it that you could plug into from Bigfoot. PCIe connector. Coming around, we can see more of the capacitors. This is an extra 8-pin power supply connector. I did not need to use this. I've overclocked this board to 4.9. Did not have the need for extra power, where I'm not looking to give it the extra juice. Another fan connector here. If we look at the top, we have another. This is the primary 8-pin, and you also have a 4-pin, which is for the CPU. I don't suggest using that either unless you're extreme overclocking using LN2 and you really need that extra power. The board did not need that. It's there just in case. So if you do feel that you have the need for it, you could go ahead and use it. If you see, we've got some nice heat sinks on here. They're very sturdy. They're very dense. Also, we do have a PCH heatsink, which has a fan on it. That cools the PCH. It also has a heat pipe up and around. So we're getting some nice heat displacement here with the fan. This does take up to 64 gigs of memory. So you could put 8 gig DIMMs in each socket for 64 gigs. I've used 32, populated all the sockets. Let's go ahead and look at the I/O port. Of course, this is for sound. USB 3, Firewire, Bluetooth. This does have Bluetooth. You can use ROG Connect with it. It is Bluetooth 3.0. Here are your connectors for your regular USB. Under here, this white connector is actually for your ROG Connect. So if you want to hook up a laptop and you want to remotely do it with your laptop, you could do that. You just plug in that white cable that I showed you into your laptop and you could use ROG Connect that way. This is the ROG Connect button. This is the reset CMOS button. You have 2 more USB ports underneath the PS2 port. If we flip the board around, there's your socket. As you can see, you do have back plates for your heat sinks. This is the back plate for the socket. When that's removed, you put the other socket on and you make it an actual 1366 compatible socket. Now, one of the things that I did not show was for the actual VGA hot wire. VGA hot wire, we're going to go ahead and cover in actually another review. We're going to be reviewing an ASUS HD 7970, and we're actually going to go ahead and show how to use VGA hot wire. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to connect the actual video card has 2 ports in it to connect the VGA hot wire. That goes to the VGA hot wire slots. You do that and you could overclock your video card, or as I like to say, performance tune your video card. This board is very stable. It's very well built. As you can see, there's no bend in the board, even holding it from the end. And that has been our quick look at the ASUS Rampage IV Extreme motherboard. For the full review, visit www.hightechlegion.com. Thank you. Stay thirsty, my friends. See you next time. Bye-bye.